Happy Thursday ahead of a trip to Chicago, flying out in less than 24 hours from SFO. So I'm excited about that. But first, I had a big piece today that I want to talk about, and it pertains to Jimmy Garoppolo, especially, but the downstream effects of this and how Kyle Shanahan ties into everything definitely pertain to Trey Lance. You cannot get away from the interconnectivity of the 49ers quarterback room. So I wrote this up on the Athletic. It's there right now. As Jimmy Garoppolo returns to Chicago, the 49ers look to rediscover effectiveness of old at quarterback. Right now on the YouTube live chat, I just put the link there so you can go ahead and visit it. By the way, follow along on YouTube. You can subscribe to David Lombardi there if you're watching this on Twitter or if you're watching this on YouTube and you're not subscribed for some reason. But the 49ers have a problem. This has been ongoing since 2017, really, with Jimmy Garoppolo, but we have enough data now to really draw some firmer conclusions. The book's not closed yet on this 2021 season, but Jimmy Garoppolo has regressed since 2017 when he was really, really good when he wasn't very familiar with Kyle Shanahan's offense, yet he still played like one of the top quarterbacks in the league over the final 5 weeks of that season. Since then, it's been a smattering of bad news. There's been some good news interspersed there. We can't say that it's been just a purely free fall-ish downslide for Jimmy Garoppolo since 2017. He put together a good 2019 season, of course, and the 49ers went all the way to the Super Bowl. But 2020 and 2021, injury riddled as they might be, have just not been good years for Jimmy. And 2021, if you take a look at my piece up on Athletic, I have a breakdown here of the efficiency. Blue is good, red is bad. As you can see, 2021 for Jimmy Garoppolo has been the first season of exclusively red across the board. So, explaining this table, expected points added per play, that includes quarterback rushes, quarterback passes, everything, even when the team is running, like handing off, whenever a certain QB's at the helm, we can calculate his expected points added per play. That's a very good advanced statistic to show cohesion between quarterback and play caller. Garoppolo was number one in those 5 games in 2017 in the whole NFL. And in 2019, he was good too. He was number 8. But as you can see, he's dipped below the league median here, 13 and now 19 in 2021. Adjusted net yards per attempt, that's going to include sacks. Garoppolo also below average, 6.5 this season, a little bit better than 2020. QBR, that belongs to ESPN, that also includes quarterback runs, down to 38.1, also below average here in 2021. CPAE, that is accuracy. That's NFL Next Gen Stats using tracking data to calculate accuracy. He's better than he was with all those high ankle sprains last year, but still under average. And one of the more striking ones here, this is more stylistic. This is air yards. How far do Jimmy Garoppolo's passes travel on average? Look at 2017 and 2018, nearly 9 yards on average length. And that was well above NFL average. Ever since the ACL tear, Garoppolo down to 6.5, 6.4, now 7.2. Those are all below average. So that's just a quick statistical profile using some of the advanced numbers. But as you can see, you don't really want to be in the red. You'd rather be in the blue, and most of the blue is happening up top. So that's the definition of a regression right there that the 49ers have seen from Garoppolo. And that's not to say that there haven't been efficient moments in the midst of the regression. 2019 was a good year. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. He played well that year, and the 49ers were able to ride that good play all the way to the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl. It was good enough to pair that run game and that defense. But here in 2020 and now in 2021, the play hasn't been good enough. Now, the 49ers will tell you that they believe that the book isn't closed yet, that they think Garoppolo was playing decently well up until the fact that he got a calf injury against Seattle and that the rain game against Indianapolis blew everything up. I absolutely get it. It was a monsoon against Indianapolis. It also knocked Garoppolo down. If you look at this chart from like number 10 in EPA per play all the way down to number 19. So obviously his performance in that rain game had disastrous impacts on his stats. But Carson Wentz played the same rain game and he did just fine. Garoppolo, I thought, missed Mohamed Sanu downfield, and that's a play that's going to be debated forever. Greg Cosell came on KMBR on Thursday and said, well, actually, I thought that the read to Debo would be acceptable to most coaches. That was his number one receiver. He trusts him. He goes there, and Sanu didn't break wide open until after the point of release. I get it. These individual decisions and individual throws are going to be dissected ad nauseum for Jimmy Garoppolo, but that misses the point. Anytime we get bogged down on evaluating an individual quarterback's reads and we're trying to make a judgment on him read by read, we're not seeing the forest because we're focused on one tree. It's so important to zoom out and look at the entire forest. How many throws does a quarterback miss? How many throws does a quarterback make? Or even better, how often does he make or miss throws? And that's why I present you this table. The advanced efficiency numbers are able to look at the whole big thing, so we don't just sit there getting in stupid arguments on Twitter regarding whether or not Jimmy Garoppolo missed Mohamed Sanu or Brandon Ayuk on a certain play. We need to judge quarterbacks for their efficiency overall, and that's why we have this. And the efficiency overall has simply not been good enough for Jimmy Garoppolo yet this season. Now, the reason I'm talking about this now is that, obviously he's coming off a bad game. Obviously, the 49ers need more from the quarterback position to right the ship. They're 2-4 right now, but they're by no means outside of this playoff race. I mean, they're a game out of the final wild card spot. The people who are advocating to punt the season away right now just don't get it. You don't punt the season away 6 games in. The organizational message that would send as far as culture goes would be horrendous. So you just don't do it. This is the NFL. It's a competitive league, and the 49ers still have a lot to like talent-wise about their roster. I came on here on the YouTube Live on Monday and talked about the malaise, the top-down negative energy that's coming from Kyle Shanahan, just through it just seems to permeate the 49ers play. Well, back in 2017, they had much less talent. There was also a malaise because they were 0-8, but then they improved the quarterback position. They traded for Jimmy Garoppolo. Garoppolo started playing in, what was it, week 13 or week 14? I forgot what it was, but it was when they went to Chicago. So it brings it kind of all full circle here, right? Garoppolo, the Chicago native, takes over the roster and improves the entire roster with those 5 straight wins in that 2017 season. The 49ers became the first team ever to go from 1-10 to actually finish 6-10. It was a prime illustration of how really good quarterback play can make everything better. So that means that all the people who are trying to bang down the door for Trey Lance to start right now will say, well, what about Trey Lance? Why can't he just be inserted and become that catalyst for the entire 49ers team? And to that I say, absolutely, Trey Lance should be a catalyst for this 49ers team. Absolutely, he can be one of the pieces that helps the 49ers regain energy and execute a turnaround that they have made before in the past with a lesser roster. They need something to spark them, and I think that Trey Lance can absolutely be one of the pieces that helps do that. But we've already seen Trey Lance in a full 60 minutes of game action. We've already seen Kyle Shanahan scheme in a way that best gives the 49ers a chance to win when Trey Lance is playing, and that was against Seattle and then obviously against Arizona. And that right now, at this stage of Trey Lance's early development, means a lot of running. He's just not ready to deliver those 25 to 30 good decisions from a pocket per game that you need in an NFL winning game plan. So Trey can absolutely help the 49ers. He can absolutely develop right now, and the 49ers are doing their best as far as, getting him reps against the scout team, and then hopefully when he gets healthy again, inserting him into games. But he's not yet the 49ers' most efficient option to win football games. And sorry if that hurts some of your ears, but it's just the truth. When you look at Garoppolo's 2021 efficiency, Trey Lance's through those 6 quarters, he's even worse, and it's substantially worse right now. He's down near the bottom of the league as far as QB efficiency on a down-to-down basis. The good news is that, I love Trey Lance. I wanted the 49ers to pick Trey Lance way back in January. But I recognize the reality of the situation. And the good news is that the 49ers can take the immense physical gifts that Trey Lance brings to the table, and I think they can leverage them into something good while avoiding a lot of the inexperience that he has. But that is incumbent on Jimmy Garoppolo playing better than he has. And that's why Jimmy is the key to this season. As much as fans hate to hear it, the 49ers have Jimmy Garoppolo on the roster for a reason, and they're going to need better play for him to try to right this ship, because you can forget about punting the season at 2-4. They're not doing that, nor should they do that. And they have a very winnable game coming up here against Chicago. So this is going to act like my game preview for this game against the Bears. The 49ers are playing a very poor offense. I mean, Justin Fields doesn't look good at all. He's taken 22 sacks. The adjusted net yards per attempt, by the way, for Justin Fields, you see that it's not very good for Garoppolo right now, 6.5. It's 2.6 for Justin Fields, because that factors in the sack. So look at that right here. What is it? The fourth column over. The third column over. Adjusted net yards per attempt, 6.5 here. For Trey Lance, it's about 7.1, I think, during his 6 quarters of action. Well, for Justin Fields, it is 2.6. That's how bad he's been. Behind a mediocre but not terrible offensive line, he's been a sack machine in a bad way, and it should be an opportunity for the 49ers defense, if they can avoid all these defensive pass interference penalties, to actually put a stifling on an opposing offense. I mean, it's up to the 49ers defense to do that. But then on the other side of the ball, it is up to Jimmy Garoppolo to finally start playing some consistently good football. The guy's making, $27 million a year. The 49ers need this. So enough of all this drama. We don't even know if Trey Lance is going to be cleared to play. It's looking better, I think, over this week of practice. He seems to be moving around fine during warmups. But Lance, Garoppolo, whatever, it's both of them, guys. The 49ers, when you're stuck in a bunker, if you're in a war and you're stuck in a bunker, you have to fight your way out with the ammo that you have in the bunker. The 49ers in the offseason decided that they were going to have both Garoppolo and Lance on this roster. End of story. They're stuck in the bunker right now. They're taking heavy fire. They got to find a way to fight their way out of this bunker. The ammo they have is Garoppolo and probably, I don't know, questionable, I guess, at this point, Lance for this weekend. You take it 1 week at a time to fight out of the bunker. I don't know what's going to happen after that when the 49ers play Arizona, then they play the Rams, but who cares? Right now, you have to find a way to beat Chicago. And you have Garoppolo on your squad, and you may have Lance. You also have to keep those longer-term concerns in mind. So that's why you have to smartly develop Trey Lance and not run him 16 times a game, as had to be the game plan to try to, maximize chances of winning against Arizona, given where Trey Lance is in his development. So balancing all those competing interests, you realize that survival right now is the most important thing. And if survival right now is going to happen, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have to be better. In this piece, I dissected, many of the theories as to why Jimmy has slid since 2017. I mean, the most obvious one is that he tore his ACL in week 3 of that 2018 season. And if you go back to the statistical chart, that's when, right after that, a huge regression happened. But it happened after these stats for 2018 were amassed, which leads me to another potential theory. And this one can be scary for 49ers fans. Jimmy Garoppolo had all offseason with Kyle Shanahan in 2018 healthy, and he came out and he didn't look good weeks 1 through 3. He might have started to turn it around a little bit against Kansas City in week 3 of that 2018 season, but by that point, the 49ers were down by many points, and the Kansas City defense was probably playing a little bit softer. For the most part, Garoppolo looked terrible, even though he hadn't torn his ACL yet in week 3 of that 2018 season and throughout the first 3 weeks of that 2018 season. CJ Beathard also didn't improve over the course of his time with the 49ers. Neither did Nick Mullins. So far, there have been 4 quarterbacks to play for the 49ers under Kyle Shanahan, right? I'm not counting Brian Hoyer, he was a veteran, but 4 quarterbacks that Shanahan has had a legitimate chance to at least start developing. They are CJ Beathard, Nick Mullins, and Jimmy Garoppolo. The 4th, obviously, is Trey Lance. The book, it's still way too early on Trey Lance. He's played 6 quarters. But the other 3, and you're seeing Garoppolo's numbers right now, the other 3, with Mullins and Beathard included, simply have not improved efficiency-wise over their time under Kyle Shanahan. That is a trend that must change with Trey Lance. He is the future, but you see here, whether it's ACL tear, confidence, trouble with the playbook, incompatibility with Kyle Shanahan's playbook, or a combination of all those things, which I think it's a combination of all those things for Jimmy Garoppolo. Whatever it is, the 49ers cannot suffer the same fate with Trey Lance. And I say that recognizing that Garoppolo has a chance to turn some things around. But I think at this point, it's clear that 2017 level efficiency is going to be really, really hard to rediscover for Jimmy Garoppolo. Maybe you get back to 2019, but even that seems like a tall ask based on what we've seen so far this season. So there's clearly a regression here. And the problem for the 49ers is if you see that same regression or the same lack of an ability to develop Trey Lance, because this is as raw of a prospect as they come, right? With only those 318 passes at FCS level North Dakota State. If you cannot successfully develop Trey Lance, it's real trouble time for Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. They have so much riding on that, which is why we can't just ignore the fact that Garoppolo's regressed. We can't just punt this away and say, oh, well, Jimmy's on his way out of town anyway. It's on to Trey Lance. Trey's not ready yet. I mean, we saw against Arizona, they only managed 10 points. The offense wasn't efficient. He's talented as hell. I think you should be excited as hell for Trey Lance, but he's going to have to develop, and it's going to have to go better than it has for Beathard, for Mullins, and obviously for Garoppolo, who we're talking about today. And that's the gist of the piece. It's one of those big warning signs for the 49ers. Obviously, this is the most important position, and it's never too bad to think too far ahead at the most important position, especially when the 49ers have invested so much in Trey Lance. Let's take a look at some of these questions, and we'll go from there. Good now. Huh? You guys need to ask some questions first of all. These are just comments right here. Well, I mean, this is an interesting point. It's like you're at a job knowing you're going to be fired in 2 weeks. Yes and no, because I would say that the NFL as a whole is a job. Being in that, and then you're working different roles for different teams, right? Because it's not like you're done with one team and there's not a chance that any of the other 31 are going to pick you up, right? So Jimmy Garoppolo, he's got his, first of all, most jobs aren't paying you $27 million to perform there. So Jimmy Garoppolo is making quite a bit of money to play this year. But he has a potential future beyond this, especially if he plays well this season. So I would not subscribe to the theory, he's not motivated to play well because he knows that Trey Lance is the future. I mean, there are other spots in the NFL where Jimmy Garoppolo stands to make millions of dollars, even if he's taking a significant pay cut come 2022, right? And that's just the reality of the situation. I don't think that a professional athlete can or does, especially in Jimmy Garoppolo's spot, look at this as like, oh my God, the hammer's coming down. I'm not going to be as motivated this year. That to me doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't jive with the fact that we saw very motivated Jimmy Garoppolo this offseason. He came in great shape to camp. He actually had a good training camp. And he was actually decently sharp throughout the preseason. He was decently sharp early in this season with some really notable inconsistencies, right? The problem is the inconsistencies have varied from game to game. So against Philadelphia and then against the Green Bay Packers, it was early game inconsistency. He wasn't able to complete those passes to move the chains early on, but then he was a lot better later on. And then he was really good against Seattle early on, but he got hurt. And then we played that rain game against Indianapolis. So in a way, the book on Jimmy Garoppolo in 2021 still has chapters to be written. We're going to see the next one here in Chicago. But we already have enough of a book to make the chart that you see right there. And as far as motivation goes, it should absolutely still be there. He has over 100 friends and family in attendance coming here against Chicago. That's where Jimmy is from. The bottom line is the 49ers just need better play from him. And I discussed the many reasons why that better play has eluded Garoppolo for the most part of the past 2 seasons. Injuries are obviously the top of the list. That dependability is a big reason why the 49ers went out and made the trade to be able to get Trey Lance. But there's also a flip side to that coin, and it's that they bent over backwards to keep Garoppolo this season. And that means they've expected more from him, and they need more from him to turn around this 2-4 record. Exactly right here. It's more like he's in an interview for his next job. So there's absolutely a reason for Jimmy Garoppolo to be motivated right now, beyond the fact that he will have over 100 friends and family members in attendance. I need to show you guys some of the quotes from Kyle Shanahan back from 2017. And these might make you a little bit sad, but whatever. I mean, this is just the reality of the situation. Look at Kyle Shanahan and the way. Well, first of all, let's see what Garrett Selleck said about Jimmy Garoppolo in 2017. This is a way to explain Jimmy's success in 2017. Garrett Selleck. This is, I think, after the game against Tennessee, where Garoppolo was really good. You've just got to play football. I think Jimmy's ability not to be robotic is key. He's able to say, this guy's open, and just throw it. Some guys, they're too robotic in their reads, and they don't see certain guys get open. But Jimmy sees us get open. And, God, it almost hurts to say, but when you saw him force that one into Deebo Samuel, you see him force a lot of these shorter passes in. I don't know if it's because he's uncomfortable due to the knee injury throwing a little bit further, or it's because of Shanahan's scheme, or a combination of both. I think the longer that Jimmy Garoppolo has been playing in Kyle Shanahan's offense, the more robotic he's gotten. And that has helped defenses defend against him because they're ready for some of the patterns and some of the throws that are going to be coming. There's less spontaneity. There's less magic than there was in 2017. So it could be because of physical reasons. It could be because of coaching reasons. It could be because of the resulting mental reasons, psychological reasons. And I think it's all of the above. Garrett Selleck's quote no longer holds true. Let's see what Shanahan said about Jimmy Garoppolo back in 2017 when there was so much more spontaneity. This is another striking quote now in retrospect. You've got to have a guy who is fearless, who hangs in there, who keeps his eyes downfield. He does that very, very well. And he also has the foot quickness and the agility to get out of there too and extend some plays, which could get some off schedules going for us. And then Shanahan even went to the length of calling Garoppolo a human jugs machine. And that's a great compliment for a quarterback. He said this, he's just sitting there ready to throw. It doesn't matter where his body is. Garoppolo then said, after the 49ers beat the Rams to close the 2017 season, this is kind of the kicker. Now we can start putting things in and adding to the repertoire. I think we're moving in the right direction. Everybody knows how that ended up. The 49ers, yeah, well, I mean, they did move in some of the right direction. They did, in a nonlinear way, reach the Super Bowl in 2019. Garoppolo was good that year again. But after all those quotes that I read to you from 2017, he hasn't come back to being that good of a quarterback. Many things happened. Yes, the ACL tear, time happened. The 49ers roster changed. I think psychologically a lot of things happened. I mean, I could just, talk about all that until I'm blue in the face. But the truth of the matter is the 49ers need some of that quarterback back. However Garoppolo, manages to conjure it, they need some of that quarterback back to turn this season around for the reasons I've already outlined. And that is even if Trey Lance is playing alongside him, which I think is going to happen. And I think it needs to happen. I think the 49ers do need Trey Lance's boost in there because I don't think they're going to get the full 2017 Jimmy Garoppolo back. But they need some of it. And they need to pair Lance with that. And then maybe Lance takes over down the road. Whatever happens. Everything past week one to me this year has been a total crapshoot. I think it's just been a matter of buckling up and seeing what happens. I knew that Garoppolo was going to start week one. I didn't know how it would progress. I think it's likely that he starts most of the season rather than not. But we got to see where to go because it's been unpredictable so far. But once the 49ers enter this battle to try to fight their way out of this bunker, they need Trey's energy and they need something from Jimmy that more closely approximates what that 2017 season was about. So what better way to try to get that back than to go back to where this all started? His first start in Chicago back in 2017. He'll be back in front of his family and friends trying to get that done. After that game against the Bears, which the 49ers won on the last second field goal from Robbie Gould back in 2017, I still remember Marquise Goodwin walking around the 49ers locker room as Jimmy Garoppolo was buttoning up his suit, and Marquise Goodwin was just shouting, "He got swag. He got swag." He was loving it. He was saying, "That guy's just a winner. Just look at the way that he carries himself." There was a magic that emanated from Jimmy Garoppolo back then in 2017 that hopefully I captured with this article. You could read all the links to the other pieces that I wrote too. But that magic, maybe only 20 or 30% of it, if the 49ers can get it, they need to recapture it starting this week. If they recapture it, that's going to help everybody. It's going to help Shanahan. It's going to help Trey Lance too. It's going to help this team rediscover its mojo moving forward. And that's the best case scenario for the 49ers short term and long term interests moving forward. All right, guys. Hope everybody enjoys. I'm headed to the Warriors game tonight. So go ahead and shoot me a message or whatever, or tweet me or something. Maybe I'll see it, maybe I won't, but I got to go get tickets for this Warriors game and check it out. My first one ever at Chase Center. Everybody take care.